I've been dealing with the craziest injury of my life. I knew I was ready for something crazy, and I started like shaking, you know, like I thought I was gonna die. In the beginning, the forecast was looking not as good. The wind wasn't good for Mully. I was not giving that much attention to that day. And it was more a surprise that a hype swell. I was living there, so I was like, what happened? I'm here. I was super lucky because I decided to cancel my ferry back home just for this day, and I think it's worth it. So the forecast for Mully is really hard to predict most of the times. And I don't know what happened this day. The forecast wasn't as big, 2 meters, something like that, and a big period. So I remember this day, and going down the hill, I could see the little lines, and the wind was just dead wind, perfect offshore. And I was like, whoa. First light of the day. As soon as I saw the conditions, I started to call Connor and the boys like, hey guys, it looks like it's gonna be a day for paddle, you know. I went to the harbor and Connor showed up with his ski. It's pretty weird because you are getting ready on the harbor and you don't see the waves. So yeah, we get there, we saw the first set, really clean, heavy and powerful, crazy bowls. We paddled out, Connor and myself. It was not hitting the peak as much that day. I don't know why. At one point when the tide get super low, no one was making the waves. No Alain, Nick Von Rupp and those guys were getting massive barrels, and no one was ending the wave to the channel. So at one point I thought that the safety guys were gonna stop us to surf because it was really ledgy and really dangerous. Myself, I was pulling back for 2 hours. So we couldn't paddle, and even the boys were thinking about to tow. And I was like, man, today if you get the good one, is the wave of your life, paddling. I got a little wave, just to feel a little bit the board, and I went to the channel just to have a look at the waves, because I was not understanding, because this day was more, the wave was coming more on the bowl, and you were needing to be under the lip and under the peak to get the wave. That's beautiful because I've been surfing Mully 10 years maybe. You know, and that was my first time I've seen it like that. 10 minutes later, a big set came through, and it was this boogie boarder, Manea, that is from Tahiti. He went on a crazy wave, like huge, steepest drop, boom, boom with the boogie board, and he fell on the bottom of the wave like that. He went over the falls, I think he hit the reef and everything, and I started like shaking, like, that was hectic, you know, like I feel Mully now in my blood, you know what I mean? So totally scared and adrenaline, and I was watching that wipeout. I was thinking about me paddling that wave, and unluckily or luckily, it was an entry on that wave. So I was like, you can't make that wave. So I started to paddle to the peak, and I just wait. And 20 minutes later, a massive set came, and I was sitting there like, and I remember that Manea was kind of next to me, more inside, and I was like, okay. So I saw the first one, and I was like, no, I'm not going on this thing, you know, it was too crazy, too heavy. And the next one, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. Start paddling as hard as I could. I took off, stand up on my board, and I just made the heaviest airdrop of my life. Made it, and then as soon as I touched the bottom of the wave, it was all foamy. And I was like, what I'm doing here, man? Like, what are you doing, my friend? You know, you're gonna die. And I tried to hold my line on that foamy wave and try to make it. I pulled in the barrel, a white barrel, and it was all steps, and I almost make it. At the end, I was trying to hold my line until the end to don't be hit by the wave, and try to make it the wipeout in the channel. and I was like kind of lay back in on the foam ball, like, and I felt at the end of the wave, and for me that was it, you know. The boys were like, that was crazy. I started crying, screaming. I was fucked up. For sure, that was one of my top waves at Mully. Crying, punching the ski, and Clem was like, this is it, Natxo. That was your season. Go back home, and that was it. And I was just sitting on the channel, looking on those waves coming through, and I was like, it's so perfect. And I was like, Clem, I know what you mean, but look at those waves. I think I'm going. In fact, it's chicken skin. And I just paddle out again, like, let's go. And we stay there like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something like that. Nick Von Rupp got a crazy one. Noah Lane got a crazy one. If someone get one of those waves, everyone is happy. So it was kind of my turn, and this set showed up, like dark horizon, you know. The boys were too much open, and Nick was too deep. And the second one, as soon as I saw that wave, it was a tow wave. I look at it for 2 seconds. I think if I look at it twice, I was not going on that wave. Just turn, start paddling as hard as I could. And it was kind of like a crazy, massive line with a grower. And they were like, go, brother, go. I tried if it was a wave for paddle or not. And as soon as I tried, I see all the reef sucking hard, but not as hard as other times that I couldn't go. So I just try, and I start going down, and the wind was stronger. It was like 3 or 4 bumps. Boom, almost catch the rail. Almost catch the rail. And then I went on the bottom, and at Mully you can't press hard your board on the bottom because it's boils and everything. So if you press so much, you can just lose your control. So I was with my toes pressing a little bit on the bottom, and the board was like boom, 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 almost like my fins were out of the water pretty much. And as soon as I just changed my rail, I thought I was gonna die. Like, what is happening here? What's coming? It's a massive wave coming. It was like a train, crazy long section through the channel, and I was on that position, and the water was sucking so much, and I was really concentrated about the steps that were coming. And as soon as I did a little step down, the wave sucked me in. When that happened, you know that the big speed is gonna come. I remember that I did a step, and then the wave used to sped so hard behind me, and as soon as I felt the speed, I was just flying, and I landed that fly, and I almost fell backwards because I catch my rail a little bit, and I correct my line a little bit like that way, and I did a little bit this way again, and the thing just disappeared, just on the channel. Best view of my life, but I didn't see the wave as much. I was really focused on what I was doing and trying to survive. All ended up on the channel, and the boys were crying. I was crying like over the moon, you know. I think for those days, everything has to be perfect. It was December, cold. I think it was 0 degrees or maybe 2, and the water was 7 degrees. I was using my OXBOW wetsuit, a 5.4 with a hoodie, booties 5 mil, and then an impact vest inside, and outside an inflate vest. About my board, I was riding my new gun. It's a 9.0. It's like, I think this wave, it's the best wave of my life, because I thought I was gonna fail 4 times. I didn't know I was gonna make it until the end. That's because it's really, really, really special, you know. Just thinking about this, I start crying the whole time. I've been dealing with the craziest injury of my life, 3 years of head concussion. Before get this wave, I knew I was ready for something crazy, not for this wave, but for something crazy. But I never thought I was gonna get a wave like that in my life again, you know. I thought that Nazare was my highlight of my career, and then I got injured, and I was already okay, you know, already stoked with my life. This came to me, I don't know how. Special thanks for sure the local community of Ireland. It's been the best time of my career there, and I feel really welcome. You know, 2 months and a half, it's a long time, you know, and I feel a part of the community, and that's forever. What's gonna happen in the future? I don't know. I will try to push my limits. I told to the boys, I can't die now, you know. I just can't die. I feel really peaceful and really grateful and really fortunate. Yeah, that's it.